Hi, Richie Mars. We're here live after Wrestlepalooza from Indianapolis, Indiana. And I thought it was a more like missionary palooza. I thought it was kind of all this hyped up to kind of be jazzed up and be what it was. And I thought it was just, fine, good enough for what it was, right? I thought it was fine, good enough, right? Yeah. So what'd you think of Wrestlepalooza off the rip?
Yeah, very safe show. Nothing too exciting. I know Mr. Triple H, the CCO of WWE, was like teasing, some surprises, some teases. But again, we didn't really get many surprises. We just got what I think a lot of people expected. And sometimes when people expect how a show is going to be, they see that as a disappointment because you watch a movie to be like going like, oh, like all these plot twists and this, that, the other thing. But again, it's a very safe show. I think we could all kind of tell where the story direction is going with each and every one of the matches that's being set. And again, it's not like a bad direction at all. It's just, again, just safe.
Yeah. Missionary Palooza. All right. I think we just start at the beginning. I think that's the safest play to go. I don't think that the end necessarily had fireworks enough that perhaps they presented at us. What did you think of presenting Brock Lesnar and John Cena a week ago on SmackDown? Joe Test said it was the main event, and I don't know if it was assumption or what, but he presented it as the main event. And by saying so, you figured it would be going on last. And then they kind of threw it out there yesterday evening that it was going to be last or opening, excuse me. It was going to be opening Wrestlepalooza. And I think we had a chat with Mike, who wasn't able to join us tonight. He was planning on it, but it just kind of felt a little down on the weather. But hope you get better, Mike. But we had a little chat going on to prepare for this post show. And I just kind of had like a bad taste in my mouth about the quality of the match. I felt that, they're taking it off the main event. My radar kind of went off. And I'm a proponent of Brock Lesnar, the wrestler, especially being there live when he returned at SummerSlam and seeing what he's brought to it. The room and the temperature of the room definitely changes when Lesnar enters it. And that has been definitely the case since arriving at SummerSlam and the few SmackDowns afterwards, adding some levity and whatnot. And still the temperature of the room changed. And John Cena is running out of dates. I think today was his 6th to last date. It probably at least his 4th to last match. And we'll see what we get in those final 5 appearances. You'll probably be at 1. I'll probably be at 1. And then 3 PLEs or Saturday night's main event. So this was a kind of safe spot to go out there and have an attraction match heading into the ESPN era of Wrestlepalooza. But it was what it was. It was a Brock Lesnar match, how you kind of would look at it. And it was a John Cena match, kind of how you would look at it. It was a B+ effort of what they gave us at SummerSlam effort-wise. But the layout kind of was what it was. I just felt like that's what we were getting. We were getting a mini spectacle. A fan of Brock Lesnar, a fan of John Cena. I thought it was fine. I thought John Cena coming out with the 45 kids was fun. I kind of wanted Brock to I was like, is Brock going to jump out there and just start suplexing kids? Obviously he wasn't, but you never say never, right? And then I was like, is he going to take out McAfee? Again, that temperature of the room changes. But overall, what did you think of the presentation and the opener here before we get in the meat potatoes of this match?
Yeah, when Joe Tessitore said this was the main event, I kind of had my guard up because when WWE says something's a main event, sometimes that doesn't mean the last match on the show. Because it's like there have been times where it's like, oh, this is the main event, but they'll put it on first. And it is what it is. They remember the winner of the Rumble, main event's WrestleMania, but then they're the opening match of the show. So I was just kind of like setting myself up. I'm like, okay, there's a possibility. Like it could go on last, but I feel like especially with Brock, he's either going to go last or first. And in this case, there's not much of a hook there. Like the story that they're trying to portray, even though there hasn't really been much of a story. But when you have Brock Lesnar involved, usually it's just I show up, I beat people up. And the little things that we got is like Brock Lesnar is trying to ruin John Cena's retirement tour because that is what Brock wants to do right now. And it was very deflating, which I guess goes with the story in a sense, because it's like, oh, Brock's here to end the retirement tour early. And it with Cena having limited dates left, and his next date, I believe, is in Crown Jewel, correct?
Yeah, the back-to-back Raws, Boston and MSG is November. So
Yeah.
Crown Jewel with no appearances. Curious what he's going to get.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
he's
So
ready.
like it was a smart way to kind of write him off for the time being, just like you're gonna have a big bulk without John Cena. I felt like they could have gone a little bit further with how they would write John Cena off if this is the direction they wanted to go. Like I would
He
much
walked
prefer.
out on his own, right?
Yeah, I would have rather like the Kimura lock and just like have like Brock break the arm of John Cena, and then it's like, oh wow, is this retirement tour actually going to end like a little bit sooner? But again, I think the more interesting part was Paul Heyman doing the introduction to Brock.
Well, yeah, how did I forget, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
that was excellent because last night on SmackDown, Brock or Paul, we should talk.
Mhm.
Like, I thought it was excellent. And my radar did go up when Alicia Taylor did kind of do the big grand John Cena entrance first. And then when she opened her mouth, excuse me, or whatever
Mhm.
he's, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
and phenomenal pop, right?
Yeah, and it's
It was excellent.
also it leaves the door open for possible like Brock Lesnar partnership with the Vision, or maybe it's like something like Brock wants a favor from Paul because Paul likes these favors and because he has so many friends. And in order to quell like Seth Rollins and the Vision, maybe he manages Brock on SmackDown, manages the Vision on Raw, get the best of both worlds. Or it's like Paul is just trying to appease Brock in order to have Brock stay away from the World Heavyweight Championship. So lot of different options for stories there. I think they could have ridden off John Cena sooner. Like it would have been even more effective if it's like if Cena lost and there was like an interview. It's like, oh, okay, John, you only have 6 dates left. What are you gonna do? And Cena either walks off or just says he's like I have to go home or something like that. Like really tease to the audience that Cena may not be able to finish this retirement tour, because that's what this section of the story is about, where Cena is wanting to go out WWE on his own terms, but Brock now disrupted that plan, so to speak. And again, it was a very safe match for the story where Brock hit John with like 5 F5s or something like that. And Cena only got in like, a couple shoulder tackles, a couple AAs, and that was pretty much it for John. It was very much like a Rocky 3 kind of like deal where it's like, Rocky gets beaten up, he gets humiliated, and then he comes back, he wins the title. But now it's like you have Brock Lesnar as that, like overcoming the obstacle kind of deal. And whether it's Crown Jewel or Survivor Series, like again, we're gonna see what happens from there.
I'd be done with this. It accomplished its goal. It set Brock up to be a bona fide beast, a threat, and who he really is entering the wrestling again after a 2-year hiatus, right? And Cena's fine. He's rehabbed. Everyone's yearning for him to kind of stick around, to kind of squeeze every last ounce off of what he's got. And I think he'll be fine, right? So he has 2 PLEs to kind of win the 100, right? And is he going to be in War Games? Is he not? He is going to have no appearances before Crown Jewel. So I don't know how they kind of get to a match at Crown Jewel or who that opponent was going to be, unless like a Gunther shows up and calls him out or something. So, or something like that. I don't really see or feel who's next for John Cena, and I'm fine with that. I want to see kind of where we're at with that. So 3 matches left, and perhaps a little bit more if they want to kind of go in there and do something. They should have a final match on Raw, right? Whatever it is. Maybe he shows up at Crown Jewel and then kind of announces 2 Raw matches against someone and against someone else, whoever. Right?
I could see Cena and Brock being on opposing War Games teams. If
that works too,
like if that has to come with it. I could also see like a like to bring John Cena back to Crown Jewel since he's not making any televised appearances. You could do like a Dominic Mysterio, like consistently calling out John Cena.
Yeah,
someone
can make it work, right? For sure.
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those challenging things because this year in WWE, and I'm going to get to it with the Cody and Drew match too, we've had a lot of stories where like at least one of the participants isn't on television weekly, and that may impact the story, and then you need that character to kind of carry that story for a long period of time, and that could be very tough for a lot of people. And I think a lot of like shows have been dragged down and bogged down because of it. So like, and that's unfortunately how the retirement tour is, where you're trying to build these stories, but you're not going to get that consistency there. And I would have liked it with this story with Brock and Cena to really hammer home the fact that this beating was so bad that Cena's like contemplating ending the retirement tour early. And the thing is, like, they already had like one of the greatest squash matches of all time in 2014, so it wasn't going to replicate that.
Yeah,
and
this is about half the time of that.
Yeah, so it's like the match was what it was. It didn't really get me any more excited to see like Cena and Brock again. And it's one of those stories where I think it's, even though marquee wise, I could see why people are drawn to it, but for me personally, it's not like, it's probably the least interesting match on the show for me.
I just want to see what Brock looked like. I wanted to see what they look like for that final time, but the outcome was pretty straightforward for me. I expected Brock Lesnar to win. I don't think they were going to do like an Extreme Rules 18 again, because they weren't. I didn't think they were going to go through it. I saw the mission to make Brock Lesnar the next beast, set him up as the next beast, and John Cena is fine, right?
Yeah.
It was a marquee match. It did its job. It was fine and to good at parts, but overall, it's what you suspected. The bar was a little bit too high for that. All right. Before this, I kind of skipped over, unfortunately, the awesome ESPN and WWE video package kind of showing what their marriage is going to be from here on out. It was excellent. They were of such a mark for the sports years and the WWE years coinciding. They were very heavy on 85, one of my favorite years in wrestling history, with coincide like in 01, for example, was The Rock as the world champion, and it was Barry Bonds hitting the home runs. And 85, it was Dan Marino and fucking the WrestleMania 1. It was just a very, 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 very cool thing. And then, it just the end with Triple H kind of just being like, sports is entertaining, right? So it really is a good marriage. I'm like, all right, it's pretty cool. And Richie, I guess they were showing Wrestlepalooza highlights on the ESPN NFL game or college football games today during Wrestlepalooza. Yeah. Cool twist too. To go,
and I think it goes to show like the importance that the WWE ESPN partnership is going to be. And I think a lot of people, even though you're going to get people saying it's like, oh, people are like boycotting like Disney right now, or people are like now people aren't going to be as easily being able to access, the PLEs and whatnot. ESPN is like, it gets played pretty much almost everywhere you go, airports, bars, everything. So even with that little like exposure, it's going to do a lot for WWE in the long run. And I really do think that it's going to be like, people are going to see a lot of different changes on how WWE is going to be covered within the mainstream, for better and maybe for worse. But I think it's going to balance out, and it's going to be a big benefit for WWE.
Yeah, here's the thing. The ESPN invested a lot of money in them. It's a part of their new rebranding in the future. They see the future, right? They're going to eventually break away from all these cable contracts and be their own entity at $40, $50 a month at that time, probably, right? So they have to beef it up. They have to invest in it, and they're going to make that money back eventually. So
it's only a matter of time after the Universal with the Wyatts, we're going to get like a Disney theme park attraction for WWE.
So much history there, and so much colorful characters and electricity, and it just makes sense, right? So yeah, as they should. I'm glad they're investing in it, because they invested a lot of cash into it. So they kind of should. It's right, and it is going to prop it up. And I honestly, part of why this night was a little vanilla is probably that, to make it safe for the new consumers, right? To be like, this is what we are, but we're not going to like offend anyone, or we're not going to just kind of be over the top. It's just like, this is very baseline of what we are, just so you can come in, have a safe landing, and get a pulse for what we are, right? And
it's very much it had like hints of the WWE Raw on Netflix debut, like little
Yeah,
hints of that, but not as like
star power-ish,
yeah,
right? It was very
not star power-ish, and also just you know, again, it's just like some things were just there, and it's again, safe is like the best way to describe what Wrestlepalooza was.
missionary, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, the Brock match was 8 minutes and 50 seconds. The next match here, the Vision, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed with Paul Heyman defeated the Usos via pinfall in a tag match, Rich.
Mhm.
This was a tag match, 17 minutes and 12 seconds. LA Knight, fuck them rules, man.
Look,
There's no
it's
DQ.
yeah.
This is no tornado was announced, but he just said, have at it. I got green pants on. I got this cool vest. I got the sleeves cut off. I look like $1,000,000. I'm on this ESPN app for a reason. I'm on this ESPN platform for a reason. I like that for his future to force him in here, even though he's entrenched in the story with Jey Uso, of course, right? And the centerpiece of Monday Night Raw with both these teams, right? So it makes sense, right? But for him to be presented as the referee, what'd you think of that? And I'm pretty optimistic because of that for his future.
I'm a big fan of the Jey Uso LA Knight story because with babyface stories and heel stories in general, for a long time within WWE, it's like, oh, you're a babyface, you're a babyface. All right, we're all cool with each other. But it's like relationships should be more complex than that. And I feel like when everyone's too buddy-buddy, then it becomes disinteresting. It's more intriguing for the viewer to see how people interact with each other and if they get along or don't get along. And with LA Knight and Jey Uso, the story was, like LA Knight blames Jey for not being world champion, and that trickles down to Jimmy, and LA Knight is cool with Jimmy, but then Jey spears LA Knight because of like he wants to do things more on his own and taking more of Roman's advice. And then, LA Knight gets his lick back. And, this whole tag team match going on here, it's like you have the Usos reuniting, you have the Brawns who are gaining momentum, and then you have LA Knight who doesn't really care about either party, but now he has to be this unbiased official. And to his credit, he was pretty unbiased. He let both teams break the rules, and he let both teams pretty much do what they need to do in order to win that matchup. And the finish of the match was pretty like good in forwarding that story because you had Jey pushing LA Knight out of the way of the spear from Braun Breaker, and that led to the finish. So I'm interested to see how they follow up with that on Raw. I hope it's not like, all right, you saved me, so it's like now we're cool with each other, and then they're all on the same side. I really hope they really go in depth with it, because it's Jey trying to prove that he's more than just the yeet guy that's always nice to everybody. And now you could see that Roman influence kind of trickling down. And yeah, I just really enjoyed the interaction. The match was fun too.
It was a little messy at times, but not in a bad way. It was chaotic, right? So, of course, with that chaos, there should be mess organically.
Especially with that chair shot with Jey, because I think like the leg of it like cut him open pretty well.
Yeah, he did not look like super happy about that, or should he, right? Honestly, my favorite part of this match is when the Slim Jim table. Well, I just
it just slowly fell on Jimmy as the count was happening.
Well, not that, but I can't believe I called it the Slim Jim table. I kind of hate myself for doing that, but I'm gonna have to ignore that and move past that. But was when they set the prop up like 60-70% into the match, right? LA Knight kind of went over there. It was just like, nothing's not like where it's supposed to be. So he kind of just like kicked the leg out and kind of gave it a good wedging in the corner. And as soon as he started kicking the leg, the camera panned somewhere else. And it was just Triple H was like, get off LA Knight, get off LA Knight. But LA Knight's wrestler was making sure the boys were all right for, the double spear through the table in 5 minutes. Right. So I like that. He was checking out for the boys.
You see, I'm picturing it like this is like the story. This is the William Regal reason, as I say, because you know how William Regal, when he was on commentary, would have all these yarns on like why people are doing certain things. For LA Knight, he wanted to make sure the Slim Jim logo was properly propped up because he is the spokesperson for Slim Jim, as well as Jey Uso. But again, I think I came here on like one of the previews, and I said, I'm like, why isn't Jimmy like a spokesperson for Slim Jim? Like his name is in it, so
Yeah,
it should be.
but he's Big Jim. It would be
Yeah,
not play into his gimmick.
Big Jim, Slim Jim.
Well, Slim isn't big, but we're not
Yeah,
going to go down that road,
yeah.
Richie. But the gear on the Usos, real quick, right?
Mhm.
While this actually kind of is related a little bit. Why did they go with like Jimmy Style, who's like terrible with gear since going on a singles run? Like
Yeah.
they both had like the jumpsuit with the baggy basketball shirt on and
Mhm.
like the shorts, and Jimmy's were extra long and James were like extra short.
It's like the Uso penitentiary gear, I
Yeah,
guess.
they always have swag and are
Yeah.
cool. Just Jimmy's like is he already in like dad bod mode where he's just like chunky and can't really, I don't know. It just
Yeah.
going with the Jimmy look was very odd.
Yeah, I think it's just was a missed opportunity just because Jay usually has like some bright gear. And
Yeah.
this time, like the color palette was very muted. I'm not sure if that had to do with the partnership of the match that this took place, because I know there was some partnership that happened with this. I just can't recall off the top of my head.
I know Old Space was the women's match we'll get to next, which was
No,
pretty
yeah,
funny.
I pointed that out with my buddy too.
But
No, but yeah,
yeah,
this match did what it needed to do. I think for the bronze, I think it perfectly sets them up for a world tag team title match. And I know people might turn their head sideways because the Judgment Day are the current tag team champions, but with the story that they're currently doing with Finn and Dom, I think it perfectly kind of sets up like Braun and Braun as world tag team champions. And then you have that issue between Finn and Dom kind of like increase.
yeah, it makes sense. Let's get the belts on the Vision, and
Hmm.
they've earned it, right? And I think that beating a legendary team like the Usos here will add to it. I think they'll kind of veer away from the Usos, and then maybe Jimmy perhaps will stick on Raw, and we're just going to start getting more into the LA Knight and Jey Uso of it all, and see where it goes, see where it lands. And LA Knight could be a big proxy to kind of get Uso to maybe even play even more into that tribal chief lane that we've been talking about and hinting about here as of late. So overall, winner of the match, the Vision, probably a little better performance. The Usos felt like they were maybe stuck in third gear all match, a little off clunky wise. I just felt that they just weren't. It seems like they haven't teamed in a while. Let's just put it that way.
I
And
mean,
that's totally fine, right?
yeah, which
That's how
makes
they are.
sense too. And I think it was more getting the storyline over than the Usos
Yeah, no doubt.
reuniting. It was like the Usos reuniting were like the third priority of this matchup. You had the tribute to their theme in the beginning, and that's where kind of like the reunion stopped and started.
Yeah.
And then the next point of contention with WWE was making sure the Jay and LA Knight story continues and progresses. And I think the main reason for this match to happen in the first place is to increase the stock of the Bronze as a tag team, because I think a lot of people would have seen, like, yeah, obviously Breaker is going to be the breakout star, no pun intended, of the Vision. And I think this is their way of kind of making Bronson almost on equal footing as Breaker and making them a formidable team. And I think it's going to be a very successful team. And I think them winning the tag team titles next is the right decision.
I can see this being a rematch on Raw too with like a real referee, and they can maybe get their win back, but I don't think it's necessary. I think it's just a way to have a good Raw match and cement the Vision even more. Do you think that last kind of question here off of this match? Do you think the LA Knight as a referee idea was a last minute addition, or do you think they kind of been planning it all along, or they're like, oh, this is a good idea, kind of play into that, and maybe that's why they kind of added it this weekend, perhaps, and it maybe felt like the match was kind of just throwing shit at the wall with the match layout wise, and that's kind of why we saw a good to very good match, but like still messy in a way.
I mean, with LA Knight, he's been finishing Raw for the past couple weeks now, so I wouldn't surprise me if this was always the plan. I think once you had the Jay Spear angle with LA Knight, I think that's when they were like, oh, okay, now we could kind of like fit Knight in here somehow, some way. And it makes sense because LA Knight has its problems with the Vision, has its problems with the Jay, or the Usos in general, mostly Jay. So again, it's a conflict of interest that makes sense for him to be the official in there. But Adam Pearce really has to like pick his spots about who to choose like the special guest referee, because remember the whole Bianca thing, and then he's like, it's like, oh, you're a referee, and she's like, I've never refed in my life. It's like, all right, don't care, you're still gonna you can do it anyway. But again, it's always these people with conflict of interests, but that's usually how special referee matches usually are.
Yeah, and I think that it was a great idea for them to get LA Knight in front of your screen on ESPN in the second match ever and get a big entrance, show the big pop, look like $1 million, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So, all right, after this match in the crowd, we saw Tiffany Stratton and Michael Cole let it out that next month the Crown Jewel Championship will be back. In the preview with Rossi, we were like, maybe they do it at Rumble since the Rumble's in Saudi. But as soon as they announced that, it kind of tipped my hat for the main event in a way, because it's just like, Seth and Cody at Crown Jewel sounds a little bit better than Seth versus Drew at Crown Jewel. So I kind of wish they didn't mention it, but I get it. And that led us here. What do you actually, Richie, before that, what do you think of the Crown Jewel announcement leading into this match?
I think I put a pitch on this like on a video a couple of weeks ago, that if they were going to do Crown Jewel, they've already been teasing Seth and Cody. So it just kind of makes sense that you get that match in there, and it allows Seth to get his win back.
Yep.
And my friend just texted me that Seth is confronting Cody on the post show right now, so it looks like that's going to be the direction. And with again, we're going to talk about the Cody Drew match, and I can tell you how I think that might happen. But yeah, with Crown Jewel happening, you have Tiffany Stratton currently, and then we're going to have the women's champion that we're going to talk about. There's a lot of different interesting combinations you can have with it, and that matchup in general. And I just fear they go with the option that isn't the most appealing option, depending on the matchups that you have going on. But again, they're trying to establish this Crown Jewel championship, and the question is, it's like, how is that going to impact like further storylines? So it's a wait and see kind of thing.
All right, and that would lead us to the next match for the vacated Women's World Championship. Stephanie Vaquer defeats Io Sky via pinfall in 20 minutes and 21 seconds. Richie, probably the match of the night for me here. I thought it was very good at points. It was pretty much all in the ring, and it built up steam as it went throughout. I don't think anything was going to follow it, because I wasn't super optimistic that the Cody and Drew would have the heat, and I wasn't super optimistic that the mixed tag would kind of get to the level that this match got to. But pretty much the story of the match here was, two baby faces just with respect, trying to break each other's opponents down, and Io got the knee exposed, and Vaquer started working it pretty much throughout the match. And Vaquer with the beautiful, what was it? The corkscrew. I forgot the finisher. What it was called.
Michael Cole called it a spiral tap, but it's not like, but the spiral tap, like usually when AJ does it, it's a leg drop, but this one was a splash, but
yeah,
spiral tap.
And Richie, my God, it landed flawlessly. And aerodynamics here, she has a heater to kind of weigh her down, Richie. And she corkscrewed and ponchoed and fucking did like a 180 in the air and perfectly landed to hook the leg of Io Sky. Match was excellent. I didn't write down, I don't have any notes here on the play-by-play, but off my memory, it built really well. It was a babyface versus babyface match built out of respect. And what did you think of it in the finish?
I agree. This was a match of the night. And this match was important for Stephanie Vaquer. And this was definitely, they wanted to make Stephanie the star of this matchup. So this was a giant showcase of what she does in certain situations. And Io Sky is the perfect opponent to prop up people's movesets. And you saw everything that Stephanie Vaquer had to offer. You saw the SVB, I believe it's called. You saw the SVB. You saw the Dragon Screws. You saw the Devil's Kiss. You saw the Springboard plancha outside the ring.
Devil's Kiss was extremely scouted by Io Sky too, right?
So. Yeah, and that just added to the matchup, because then it's like you heard some boos after the second time Io countered it, because now you want the people more invested on having this move done. And when it actually happened, then it got a huge reaction. And that's what this match was intended to do, because Stephanie has been off of television for a while, like prior. Like the entirety of August, she wasn't on television.
Yeah, she has not been able to build momentum whatsoever.
And this match was the perfect like kind of kickstart to rebuild that momentum, you know. And I think people will argue, it's like, and I argue this point as well, it's like, well, you could still have her on the show, but now that it's like, oh well, she was off the show, now she beat Io Sky, who was the former women's world champion months ago, and then now you start building that momentum again. And it's perfect because now it's a crown jewel season. It's going to be a little bit tough just because she's not going to have a dialed in feud right now, because now Io Sky is probably going to go back to Kabuki Warriors, where Asuka's going to say, you should have had us out there, we could have helped you win. And then at Perth, we're probably going to get Io Rhea versus the Kabuki Warriors, and then that story is going to hit its apex right in there.
Yeah, they was showed a lot of potential for like interference tonight or distractions tonight, and I'm glad we didn't do that, because that could boil over to Monday Night Raw. We didn't need that tonight. The babyface versus babyface match was built extremely well, and we didn't. I'm glad they didn't deliver that or give us that. So,
and now you got the crown jewel matchup where it's like it's either going to be Stephanie Vaquer versus either Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, or Nia Jax. And again, going from like a babyface match to another babyface match. Like, I'm not saying like Stephanie's going to be like underlay, but it's like you got to continue building Stephanie's momentum here. And I think the easiest way to do that is probably the Nia Jax option.
I think that's a unique match for her structure wise. And
yeah, exactly. So it's like I'm not totally against it, but it's like the least intriguing because WWE is still trying to build that Stephanie Vaquer momentum. And I think Stephanie Vaquer as like crown jewel champion just kind of like is like a good ring to it. And then we're going to talk about the other crown jewel match later. But yeah, overall, this match did what it was supposed to do. It was not only a great match, it showcased Stephanie Vaquer, and it gives you a small taste of what Raw is going to be like with her as champion. And hopefully she gets the proper showcase as opposed to the last couple of weeks where she's been non-existent on television.
Yep. Again, a star was born. She was boiled and ready to boil over. And I'm glad they went with her, because I think when I talked about Malik here, he was pretty certain they were going to go with Vaquer, as was I. But I didn't know if they thought that the journey to like a Royal Rumble, through a Rumble to a Mania, would be more like making her feel like a bigger star, you know, her stumble here to there. But I felt that on this platform, the Naomi stuff was kind of, how do I put this? The Naomi stuff kind of worked out good in her favor for the ESPN platform. And she really is the brightest star from a wrestling standpoint coming out of it.
Yeah, and it also helps that her, like, for not like her first appearance, but her first major matchup had the crowd fully invested in her, as opposed to like some Raws you'll see here, like when somebody's still relatively new, that there still be kind of dead crowds, you know. So I think this was a good atmosphere for her to showcase all her stuff. And again, star-making performance, and I think we're probably going to get like Stephanie Vaquer and Rhea Ripley down the line, maybe at a WrestleMania, maybe somewhere sooner, but it's looking like that's the direction that they're heading towards, because they keep hinting and teasing at that match.
Yes, they are. And I think that is going to probably break the internet.
Probably.
Yeah, can you imagine? Like, might be the only time that I would like a reaction video where just everyone would be like, oh, like it would be just like, you guys would need towels for the sweat, of course, right? So it would definitely.
Again, match sponsored by Old Spice too, so you know we got all those sponsorships out there. I'm surprised by the amount of alcohol that was sponsored on this show too.
You
had Wheatley American Vodka, you had Mike's Harder, you had Fireball on the mat. You're just
real American beer, brother.
Yeah, all of it.
And then the
Little Caesars
Saturday night's main event, Real American beer is coming up, brother.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Yeah. Did you see the El Grande Americano Little Caesars box on there?
Incredible.
Yeah, oh boy.
Little Caesar's pizza is very, very average. So I will have to kind of scoff one down for the Bucks.
I'm surprised that they are going to allow that to happen with Papa John's as a sponsor too.
Oh yeah, interesting. Yeah, well, TKO is in the pizza business, right? So I don't think great money is money to them, as you could see, right? So I don't care. I don't think they care what franchise the fuck you are.
Yeah, dollar bills.
Yep. All right. And afterwards, we saw that we were in a tough spot. I thought that AJ and CM Punk were going to be in versus Seth Rollins in Becky Lynch. First of all, Richie, that Becky and AJ and Seth, that Becky and Seth entrance was so extra, but was so perfect for what they are. Yeah. I thought it was excellent.
It was great.
I love the matching gear, like the big puffy glowing like sequence of robes, and again, they're killing this run together. This is nowhere near the 19 Baron Corbin, Lacey Evans bullshit that we got.
Yeah, like this one had a actual plan for it, and a reason for them to team up.
Yes. So again, to set the table here, I thought that they were in kind of a rough area to kind of go out there and do their thing. I didn't know if they were going to have the crowd, because don't forget, the Texas Tornado match, even though it wasn't one, was still, the crowd was super invested. And then the crowd they built extremely well in the Io and Vaquer match, where they were ready for them at the crescendo, and then they were high. So I was like, these entrances are going to be over as well. So to start with a 10-minute hot tag, pretty much in a 29-minute and 18 seconds match.
Mm-hmm.
Again, are they just letting Becky Lynch pick her match times? Like with this match and the SummerSlam match, it's just like, we're going too long, Becky. Like, as I'll get into it, they got me, right? They did their job. But 29 minutes on paper, how do you look at that and say, yes, great job? You know what I mean?
I mean, the difference between that and the SummerSlam match is because now you have more elements at play in comparison to the SummerSlam match. You have AJ returning, you have Punk, you have Punk, you have Seth, you have Becky, you have all these different interactions going on. And it was probably the spectacle of the night, other than like Brock and Cena. That's probably the most marquee match that people were looking most forward to, especially because this is AJ's return. And Punk, taking the heat was a great way to build up the anticipation for AJ. And then you got to see AJ in a long match scenario where, if you look back on her Divas era championship run, you don't get to see her have those kind of spots. You know what I mean? Where it's like, it was a lot of more slaps. It was a lot more like basic stuff. And she did well with a lot of the things she was doing, like the Hurricane Ranas, the 10 punches in the corner, the Black Widow submission, the Tornado DDT, and just all the double team moves with the sliced bread and everything like that. I really do like how they inserted AJ in there to make her look as good as possible with that 10-year layoff. And Becky Lynch deserves a lot of credit because she was probably the MVP, in my opinion, of this match. Like, she was selling really well about not wanting to AJ, didn't want AJ to be in, and it just built up to her being so desperate that she's getting involved in trying to pull CM Punk back to the corner. And it was a great story that was being told, where you could sell like Becky's fear about not wanting to face AJ and trying to get out of it. And it was very well done.
Now, what is she actually scared of? Like, AJ Lee's 115 pounds.
Yeah,
which I get. Yeah. Is she afraid that the Puerto Rican's going to shank her?
I mean, it's the unpredictability factor, as we saw with AJ's prime run in WWE. She was very unpredictable.
Mind games, yeah.
She's more afraid of the mind games of AJ Lee, and just like how it could kind of like turn on a dime, and especially being the heel now, it's more like Becky's hiding behind other people touting her as the best. Sports Illustrated says it, Bleacher Report says it. And that's what this man character is, where it's like, look, I'm still the man, but are you really? Where it's like, because it's like WrestleMania 35 was about 6 years ago. You know what I mean? And
little
then it's
doubt
like,
there,
but
but I don't.
so there's a doubt where it's like, it reminds me of like with her as the Intercontinental Champion is bringing prestige to the Intercontinental Championship that was newly created this year. But it also kind of reeks of, at least character-wise, where Becky's like, "Oh, I'm a champion," but it's like, are you a champion? Like, are you like the champion of? Are you still the man, or are you just kind of playing JV after being a captain on varsity?
Yeah, that's when time will tell. That's kind of someone can use that against her. That's a really good line.
Mhm.
Even though I don't think she would look at it, I think she's just kind of playing in her own sandbox.
Right.
And for her, she's content with the championship and she can
Mhm.
present it as, well, I'm making this new title to
Mhm.
justify her insecurities that you kind of talked about as well,
Right.
right? That AJ Lee definitely sparks. Now, that inevitable AJ Lee and Becky Lynch singles match, I don't think it'll be as good as this match. I think this match was very good at times. Honestly, great at times too. Some aspects of it was really great. And I just felt that, again, that heat at the beginning
Mm.
was just, I would have cut
I,
that in half.
I think they really
And I would
took
have trimmed
from
that half of that from the match. Yeah.
They really took from that Triple H Stephanie McMahon versus Kurt and Ronda match, I think.
Yeah.
Like that, at least pacing wise, because you saw like the double team moves, like at the same time, the double pedigree, the double shining wizard. I thought they had some really good falls. I really enjoyed the finish with the announce table,
Mhm.
like Becky throwing in AJ into Punk.
Seth skipping around like AJ too.
Yeah,
That was
like
pretty good.
like Seth does really great character work when he is goofy, and I feel like that's what's been missing with the Vision, is that Seth is like too overly serious at times, but I think his best character points are like when he's goofy and then he has a little bit more seriousness when it calls for it. Like he's really great when he's like the Joker, like drunk on power kind of character. And I feel like with Becky, that's brought out the best in him during this whole entire Vision run.
Mhm.
And with AJ, they really did make her seem like a very legendary force. And it's tough because for the longest time since AJ retired, WWE hasn't mentioned her, because of the whole, relationship with Punk and stuff like that. And this is going to be a new kind of era to see like what kind of performer AJ is on her own. Like you said, the Intercontinental Championship match between her and Becky is probably going to draw near. It wouldn't surprise me if they don't have that at Perth, but they might have that at like the MSG show or even in Survivor Series, just like one of those towns, because it was the story that AJ went to WrestleMania 20 and like in the cheap seats and bleachers, and that's when like she wanted to be like a wrestler or something like that. And like it's a good story to tell. It's a good story to tell. Do I think AJ should win the IC title off Becky? I wouldn't say so. Like I think it'd be a nice moment, but then you go, it's like you come on and you go like, all right, what's after that? You have Roxanne, you have all these crop of women who haven't even wrestled with AJ before, like a grand majority of them. So it really depends on what WWE wants to do. But as for the match itself, like again, presentation, wonderful. I thought it was a good spectacle of a match. There was like a point where the referees, I feel like that's a big con of this show as well, as we'll get to the main event too, because Jess, the ref, was pinning a count for Punk and
Jessica Carr, yeah.
Jessica Carr, like counting the pin for Seth and Punk, but then directly after counting the pin for AJ and Becky. So again, not a great night for referees. Kind of reminded me of a lot of different referee spots. I think we've been talking more about referees like blowing calls in WWE and AEW than we have ever before. But again, it's one of those things where it's wrestling.
LA Knight should just referee all these matches and just have them be chaotic, tornado tags, no DQ.
Yeah, you just need to count the pin. That's all you need to do.
All right. What did you think of the women on male violence in this match? I think that it played into the build. They gave you just enough, but they don't really want to highlight Well, here's the thing. When they did it in the build, it was obviously to trigger AJ Lee to come back. When he did it in the match, it was to kind of pick at CM Punk and antagonize AJ Lee to kind of get in her head and maybe throw her off the game. So of course, they're playing the game.
It was the majority of it was women on man violence, and then you had the spot where they kind of built up, because remember, Punk said he would in the build he would never hit a woman. Didn't say about putting her in the sharpshooter though. You know what I mean? So it's just like one of those loophole kind of deals, and then that allowed Seth to come in, and I did like the stomp AJ had on Seth.
Like, it's good, right? Yeah. Desperation. Yeah, like stuff like that, I do not mind whatsoever. Right? Yeah. Like I think that's good. I'm not the biggest intergender guy. I know some guys love it, and then I guess it's
the new 2K game pretty much based its entire like campaign around it, because now it's like the big thing in like the career mode is like the women and men can fight each other.
Yeah, Maxine Dupree versus Brock Lesnar. Let's book it. Let's see how that goes. Right? Like, yeah, that makes sense. I get it, right? Like, it's just whatever. I'm not going down that lane. But I thought that it worked within this match for what they did. It was a great layout. I just would have cut down 10 minutes of it. Like, and I don't think a third of the match was bad or whatever. I just felt that, again, to kind of bring the crowd. It was very old school though. Bring the crowd down after being hot. Get to build up to the hot tag, which sparks the match that you're in, right? Makes sense, right? And it's spark up the first action in 10 years of AJ Lee too. So a double down on the tag, right? So it all makes sense. But I just think 10 minutes of it was a takeaway to this some point here.
I think like cutting like 5 to 8 minutes, like I think would have been fine.
22 minutes, call it. That's fine, right? All right, Brandon chimes in here. CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch should have been the main event.
I wouldn't go that far.
I don't think it wouldn't have, marquee wise, I don't think it would have been acceptable. I think the match benefited for being in the spot it was, but I can see the crowd yearning for it. They were the most kind of into the finish because they did a great job laying out this finish, I think for sure.
Yeah. Like I just like championship matches going on last. Like there's some expectations, you know.
Some prestige, right?
Yeah, it's like I always like giving the respect to the titles.
And whenever Triple H could squeeze out a WrestleMania main event, he would always be like, "Well, my match got the title on the line. Shaw don't need it with
I think
Taker and Jericho."
To be fair, to be fair, that Shawn Taker match, they didn't like that Triple H Orton match that year. I'm going to go on a side tangent. Did have the best build out of every match in WrestleMania 25. It just like it was really hindered by that. Like, oh, if you get disqualified, you lose the title, which is like the worst thing you can do.
It doesn't match the build whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm like, if anything, you had to go the opposite end of the spectrum, and you had to go you had to go no holds barred with that one. But again, the best thing that happened out of that Triple H Randy match was the Triple H's entrance where he threw the sledgehammer in the glass.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then he had to do a ricochet. He's like, "Oh, maybe we didn't really walk through this one because we only ordered one pane of glass." So that was a tough spot.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll talk about it someday.
I think I went 2.5. I was like, "This is fine. This is okay." It was good sometimes.
I think I went 2.
Again, splitting hairs there with that, but all right. This whole middle card. Breaker, AJ Lee and Punk, and then the Care. It's a tough spot for kind of. We keep saying tough spot and whatnot, but from a quality standpoint, from in-ring action, those 2, 3, and 4 matches were good to very good. And the main event, again, fine. Should have been the main event based off the prestige of the world title.
Aren't you forgetting something?
The prestige. Oh my. And
you forgot like the surprise announcement that we got going on.
Oh boy, how did I ever forget? It is cool. Like, do you think that Stephanie McMahon was legit shocked when the Taker came out? The Taker, right? The Undertaker, the Taker. I like that. I like that.
The Taker.
Undertaker came out and said, I was like, all right, where's he going with this? He's not flirting with Triple H's wife. They obviously have a relationship, but there's some weird energy and weird vibe. But I thought he did a good job of kind of presenting the Hall of Fame from her,
Mhm.
and she looked legit shocked. I don't like.
Yeah.
I think there was some
Yeah.
with Triple H. I do think that there was some underlining of him
They
understanding.
did keep it from Triple H when he got inducted. So I would
So they
think
say,
yeah.
but I feel that they totally got Stephanie. Maybe Stephanie was told, all right, hey, we're going to give you something out here.
Probably
And
like
maybe,
the attendance figure, like Undertaker's gonna
and
like
maybe she was
talk
going to
about the
have an
attendance.
inkling or something of,
Yeah.
when she said Hall of Fame, she was like, her face was just like,
Yeah.
kind of got me there a little bit, you fucker.
No, yeah, and like I think people are gonna make arguments, but I think it's well deserved. You know,
Oh, come on. Yeah, of
yeah.
course it
So
is.
it's like I think Stephanie's earned it, and the question is she gonna headline? Because you're gonna have a couple of like first, like if she gonna be the first woman to headline the Hall of Fame, is who's
She
gonna
did
be?
start the women's revolution, she
Yeah,
says.
yeah, that's what happens. But I think it's well earned. You know, I am like I'm tilting my head a little bit to the side. You know, Triple H being inducted this year and now Stephanie the next year. Like my conspiracy victim hat is kind of like
Yeah, I know
going
what you're
like
saying.
so. Yeah, it's like that's kind of like kind of tilting my head a little bit. But again, I'm just gonna enjoy the moment for what it is, and then again, that's another discussion entirely.
So, like, before we behead you guys and thank you for your services, we're gonna kind of
Well, thank
make
you
sure
now,
you.
and then we'll send you up the river if need be.
My radar did go up a little bit too, as well with that, right?
Mm,
So,
yeah.
who knows, right? But because I'm sure that they have their contract lated that like they have X amount of years to make sure that there's an out. They're guaranteed X amount of
Hmm.
years in the spot that they're in once
Hmm.
past the sale, and then we'll see, right? Type of thing.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
are
Well,
you surprised?
I think Stephanie would be more safe than Triple H, but she's
Yeah,
not
but then
like
what if
yeah.
she's not there? What does she want to do?
Yeah,
Right
exactly.
now?
Yeah.
Do you think Stephanie going in at the Hall of Fame as the first McMahon, besides Vince's dad, is a shocker in retrospect?
Well,
If I brought that up to you
I mean, Triple H was the first McMahon to go
10,
in the Hall of
10 years
Fame.
ago, 10 years ago, I said
Yeah.
Stephanie would be the first one to go in. Would you be
Mhm.
shocked?
I didn't. I'd be kind of shocked just because, like, I know, like, before the company sale, like, everybody was like the story was like Vince didn't want to go in after he passed. Same thing with Triple H. Like the whole DX thing was just kind of like the attraction base for the Hall of Fame that year. And then when Triple H got announced, I think again, same radar that both of us were talking about Stephanie, that kind of went off in my head right there. And if you listen to Sean's like induction speech, it was a not. I don't want to say it was like a plea kind of kind of deal for. It's like, hey, Triple H is doing a great job, you know. But yeah, one of those things where we'll see what happens.
All right, over under a minute and 17 seconds, like Triple H's. What do you think Stephanie will go over or under?
I think she sticks to her a lot of time. I think she'll like do like maybe 20, maybe 30, and then we're out. Depending
Well,
on
she
if she's
doesn't
had
have the career like
like
in ring that Triple H had.
well, she's also like lived through like the wrestling business all her
Yeah,
life
she could
too.
talk about
So
what she saw and felt through her
yeah,
run.
you know, and just like the progression and like how she was like as head of creative and then just like being like CEO briefly for that period of time, you know, and having different positions in there. And again, it's going to be one of those stories that I'm sure we're going to be talking about for years to come with the entire career of Stephanie.
All right, the Drew match. I set the table for it. I like
Mhm.
that Cody is the quarterback. They said it again. So let's
Mhm.
give him the main event spot. He is the WWE champion, just reclaimed it at SummerSlam, and let's kind of get his run off to a good start.
Mhm.
Now, was this match bad? No, it was very good. It was a
Yeah.
very good, acceptable main event. But
Mhm.
I think they set the table of Wrestlepalooza a little bit and was a detriment to this match. And
Yeah.
the match, second, third, and fourth, having the peaks with the crowd, you never really got to the crescendo of this match. Richie, coming out of this match, I feel like this isn't the last one. This felt
Mhm.
like a very good, safe first one.
When we talked about it in our preview, I think we had like the similar sentiment where this is going to be like a part one, a good part one
Yes.
to the Cody and Drew story. And I really do feel like this was a good part one. It reminded me very much of the Gunther Cody match at Crown Jewel,
Yeah.
where it was very like, they could do more, but they're saving it for later down the line.
It
And
was
that's exactly,
Gunther Punk too, right? Yeah.
yeah. And with Cody and Drew, like they were teasing with the Cody like head injury very early on, and it was just kind of like it was very sudden, very abrupt. Like I would have liked them to kind of like set that foundation a little bit more on the SmackDown before. And I'm sure people are gonna talk about the ref spots that were in that matchup. Like the first one with the turnbuckle, I thought was fine. You know what I mean? Like I thought that was fine. Drew like getting his anger getting the best of him. To make the outside spot with the announce table and the Claymore and Drew going through the Claymore and the ref stopping him, I thought what would make that better would be if the ref was warning Drew from inside the ring, because then you would avoid the ref being like the cause of the quote unquote distraction of Drew McIntyre. And I think that put a lot more focus on the ref than it did the competitors and the story that they were trying to tell. And I have a fun direction that I think this feud will take if they would allow it.
What do you
But
got?
again, so I think a lot of people are expecting Drew to blame the referee, and I think that would fit well with his character. But I
He's
think,
definitely complaining. So yeah.
yeah, so I think a interesting turn of it is just like he doesn't complain about it. He goes to Cody. He's in like a cast. With the foot saying it's like, look, Cody, I said some things, and
Passive aggressive
um,
kind of. I can feel that you're going down.
not like it's gonna be like kind of sincere with this, and it's like I said some things, and I was just trying to help you, and like because of that, and because like I'm obsessed with getting back to the spot that I was once in, it cost me some of my career. That being the leg injury. And see, I just want to wish you luck against Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel, and I wish the best for you. And they shake hands, and then Drew claymores Cody with the cast on his foot, and the cast is like it's a heavy like boot where it's like Drew's like faking the injury, and you could even prolong that injury angle for like Drew like being upset, and Jen Drew like quote unquote atoning for his sins, even though he knows he was right all along. And you're kind of like questioning the viewer's questioning, it's like, oh, is Drew actually sincere? Does he actually feel like this injury kind of changed him a little bit? And it would be a nice little thing for in the interim where it's like Drew isn't a distraction for Cody for Crown Jewel. You know what I mean? Like it gives Cody the chance to focus on this Seth Rollins feud. You could build a Seth Rollins feud, and then you can even have Drew off television until Crown Jewel, and then Drew costs Cody at Crown Jewel, and then you just go on from there.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I like that. Here's the thing: with this to continue, they're gonna have to play into the story. And for the out to this match, like you mentioned, the leg injury. Obviously, that leg injury came from the Claymore attempt on the outside, which kind of set Cody off for 2 to 3 weeks after SummerSlam.
I think it was a
That
little bit
made,
more. I think it was like 4 or 5.
or whatever it was,
Yeah.
where the Claymore through the ring. And I like that he had some was like, all right, do I need to do this to kind of beat him? Yeah, fuck it. I'm Drew McIntyre. I'm going to Claymore him. In that hesitancy, kind of, if he went right for it, he would have been boom, he would have been good. But he kind of stopped and pondered, and will he do that next time? And I like that what took Cody out, McIntyre went to the well again and took him out. And I thought he did an excellent job of selling that leg when he was going to go for the Claymore inside the ring for the win. And then Cody with off the cutter, Cody cutter, and then disasters. And then we were, home. And I was like, we're going to get a kick out. We're going to get a kick. Nope.
Yeah. I was shocked just because, Cody hit one, and then it took, I think the second one finished off Drew.
Yeah.
I was expecting the trifecta, the 3-1.
And I was like, all right, we'll get that when it's the blow off, right? So I definitely feel that we're gonna get another one here. I don't, like you said, when Crown Jewel doesn't make sense. Perhaps they're on the Survivor Series, but then we're looking at maybe maybe Saturday night's main event, maybe the Rumble, who knows, right? So
Yeah.
they're going to want to beef up that Saturday night's main event either in November
Mhm.
or on the John Cena one.
Yeah, and especially like I was curious to hear like the crowd for Cody, and Cody's over, like Drew's over, Cody's over, but it just kind of shows like Cody will face those. I think he calls them the away games when he's facing off against more tenured stars, like with a Cena, with a Randy, and that's another thing to talk about too with Randy. Where does he fit on all of this, if at all? You know, and I feel like
Yeah.
you
Well,
know,
that's up. Were you surprised that we get no shenanigans here?
like at the end, I was expecting something like maybe like a return, maybe an attack, just because
Mm,
like Triple H was teasing like all these surprises, and the surprise was Stephanie going to the Hall of Fame. But the thing is, it's like
that's stupid. It's a terrible surprise.
like the thing is, it's like with Cody, you're wondering, it's like, oh, okay, let's see what happens. And they announced in the post show, since I guess they're trying to beef up the post show too, that they announced Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins at Crown Jewel, which again, they're going to play off the history, which is Cody's always beaten Seth since Cody's returned to WWE.
Seth should win this one,
Absolutely,
especially with Cody winning Crown Jewel last year.
Yeah, and that's where we're going in. Like Cody has Crown Jewel, and I think the loss would actually help Cody in the long run, where it's like, oh, he's actually not Superman.
He's vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, plus Seth has the vision anyway, and this is categorically probably Seth's year since the WrestleMania main event, and it's a good way to build him. He's like, look, I beat Roman, I beat Cody, I beat Punk. Punk's probably going to be the next on the list of people after Cody that's going to be beaten. And then you just kind of go on from there.
Yeah, no doubt. Overall, Missionary Palooza was, again, fine. I think that we took our lack of enthusiasm was kind of built up to the aura of ESPN and the presentation of ESPN. And we're like, all right, this is going to be a mini SummerSlam. This is going to be a mini WrestleMania. But didn't we know we got this mini WrestleMania was, from a disappointing standpoint, like WrestleMania 41 was in a way, and WrestleMania 41 was good in a way. This was good in a way, and this was disappointing in a way, right? So the bar set high, and they kind of, that's why it was kind of like you said, what, 6.5 out of 10? Yeah, I'm gonna say 6 out of 10 at least, right? So that I'm with you there.
Yeah. So it was a show that was fun. I didn't expect many big things from it. Like I expected, like it's gonna be the first one on ESPN. First, it's gonna be a lot of people trying to figure out like how they're gonna log on to ESPN first. But again, it was a fine show. AEW, again, I think a big talking point was Wrestlepalooza happening the same day as AEW All Out, and I think Tony Khan actually said that he's looking more towards the afternoon shows just to break in more to the European market and stuff like that.
Sure, buddy.
Yeah, So, but again, it's like I think that's a fine move for him too, because like it benefited TNA, because TNA was on free TV in Europe as opposed to a paid channel like WWE was for a long time. And so I think it's gonna help out their reach. I think the main things that happened on All Out, Chris Statlander winning the women's championship. Let's see.
I have it in front of me. I'm gonna give you a quick rundown. You can kind of just pop up and say, "Oh, interesting." All right, so this is the first time I'm reading it. I saw some things. I saw like the Edge thing. I saw Statlander winning, and I heard the main event was excellent. So let's just I'm just gonna read from the jump, and then you kind of just pin me when you think it's interesting. All right, the Ops, Samoa Joe, Powerhouse Hobbs defeated Anthony Henry and JD Drake via submission in 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, that this is all like the tailgate stuff too. Like,
yeah, this is all like pre-show match.
Yeah, pre-show tailgate.
Daniel Garcia with Marina Shafir defeated Kazuchika Shibata. Yeah,
Katsuyori Shibata. Yeah, like the Daniel Garcia character, like I'm not sure if you've been following. He's been like he turned heel recently.
Yeah,
so he's joined the Death Riders, which I think there was like a chance where it's like he could have been a bigger babyface. He had the feud with MJF last year, won the TNT Championship. They didn't really do anything with him. And now it's like this is again a chance to kind of rehabilitate Daniel Garcia. So hopefully it works out.
Hologram, Paragon, And the Paragon, which is the brutal Bob Evans names for the Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, defeated the Frat House. I cannot believe these guys are a group. Cole Carter, Griff Garrison, and Preston Vance. This is like all young guys that we like. We bring them in. They have a bright future. Oh shit, they're going nowhere. Let's just throw them together on a mid card.
They're mostly a Ring of Honor. They're mostly a Ring of Honor faction.
Yeah, say less. All right, and then Holly Cameron, Queen Animata, and Willow Nightingale defeated Megan Bain, Penelope Ford, and the Triangle of Madness, Sky Blue, and Julia Hart in an 8-women tailgate brawl, 11 minutes and 30 seconds.
Sure. Yeah, it's fine. Like all like the women's division is getting more play, so I like that they're getting a spot even if it's on the kickoff. So Willow getting a win is always nice. Harley Cameron, big fan of Triangle of Madness. I think are doing very well. So I know Queen Animata has been getting a lot more TV time, so good for them.
She's got a great look. I think if I was WWE, I would have like my eyes on her. Like we could do something with her, and AEW could definitely do something with her as well too. Yeah. So I do like that Edge and Christian are calling each other CNC now. I think that's really cute. All right, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage defeated FTR with Stokely in 18 minutes and 5 seconds. I saw Beth return. Was that during the match or after the match?
During the match to kind of take care of Stokely. Let's see. Cope did the the Cena move. Yeah,
that was cute. I think that was a good callback. I thought that was good.
It was also good. Also, probably the only time you're going to hear an AEW crowd chant for Cena. Probably, but the post-match angle with FTR handcuffing Copeland, doing the pile driver to Christian, and then pile driving Beth.
It's the same gimmick that the Judgment Day did.
Yeah, but it's different because it's FTR. But no, it's like this feud. It's like I like the teams involved. I like how this is like the feud that's bringing back Edge and Christian, CNC. But it really just kind of feel samey to me with the whole Judgment Day deal, because it's kind of like same betrayal, like the group betrays Edge, and then all these other stuff happens. Edge reunites with an old partner, and again, it's kind of like 1, 2, 3 the same, but it's like at the same time, a lot of people are interested in the Cope and Cage reunion, and of course because Cage is awesome. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if I see him with albeit a short, like a world title reign in the future, just because his psychology has just gotten better. I map him out with Shawn Michaels and Randy as the best when it comes to in-ring psychology.
Do you think he misses the WWE?
Who, Edge or Christian?
Edge. I don't think Christian does.
Yeah. I think with Edge, I think he misses aspects of it, but at the same time, it's like, what else is there left to do?
No doubt. All right, The Demand, Ricochet, Bishop Khan, and Teo Leone defeated the Hurt Syndicate. That was actually surprising. Bobby Lashley, Shelton Benjamin, and MVP. I heard there's a lot of MVP here. 13 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah, I think this is one of MVP's first matches in AEW, so they wanted to get him a lot of shine, and it also protects the group for Shelton and Bobby for taking the pin. Yep. And this is a way to build Ricochet's group, and I think it was the right call.
Okay. Kazuchika Okada defeated
Kazuchika, yeah.
Kazuchika Okada. He's always Okada to me. Come on.
Yeah, love Okada.
Takashika, Konosuke Takeshita, and
Masquerade. Masquerade Dorada. Yeah.
So this is a unified title?
Yeah, so the unified title is what you like the Continental Classic title and the International title got unified. So now it's the
they're just calling it the unified title.
Yeah.
Okay, I knew that they were combined. I didn't know if he was combining more belts.
Yeah, so this is like kind
21 minutes.
Yeah, kind of to push the issue between Okada and Takeshita, just because they've been kind of teasing their issue for a while, and I think it's going to be a well done issue. I see. That's probably going to be Takeshita is going to be the one to take the title off Okada, and it couldn't happen any sooner, in my opinion, because they're teasing that babyface turn, and Takeshita having a huge run, winning the New Japan Cup or the G1, and then it's good for him, and especially we have Osprey and Swerve out and Kenny out. Like you got to push new faces, and yeah, they're doing that with Takeshita.
All right, Moxley defeated Darby Allin in a coffin match, 20 minutes.
Yeah, Pac came back and with shorter hair too.
Yeah, I saw a picture. He didn't really look. I thought the longer hair was probably a better look there. All right, shocking. Chris Statlander beat Timeless Tony Storm, Jamie Hayter in Tekla. Who did she pin?
Tony.
Really?
Okay. Yeah. So they've been doing a story where Wheeler Yuta is whispering to Chris Statlander, and she's like playing it off like, okay, whatever. Like, and she's like interacting with different members of the Death Riders. Like Moxley has taken a liking to Chris Statlander here and there. So like she won with the seatbelt, which is Wheeler Yuta's move, like his pin combination move. So it kind of moves forward that story of like, is she with the Death Riders? Does she want to go with the Death Riders? And I do like that story direction. I wish the story for the 4-way was stronger, because it was literally just Tony Storm just saying, you want to fight? You want to fight? You want to fight? All right, we're having a 4-way at All Out. That was pretty much it. I wish it was stronger like that. But in terms of the direction of Statlander, I think it's good. And for Tony, like now it's like, okay, now you could have build up that Statlander Tony matchup proper with Statlander as champion. Your mic's off.
My bad. Again, hey, we had technical difficulty early.
Yeah, we did.
I wanted to bring it to it. Rodito is a good name combination.
Yeah.
Defeated the Young Bucks. Jet Speed is a terrible name combination, and the Don Callis family.
4-way ladder match, yeah.
Yeah, it was a ladder match, yeah.
And this also had the return of Jack Perry and
Luchasaurus. I did see that.
as team, Jurassic Express. So it's a very interesting kind of reunion, because they were teasing, like, at least on the Young Bucks YouTube channel, that Jack Perry is not happy with the Bucks kind of dropping him. So why not just call an old friend in Luchasaurus? I think I'm not sure if they were still calling him Kill Switch or not. But
they took the Kill Switch thing and threw in the crowd, so he's going to be Luchasaurus.
Yeah, so now it's like the tag team's back. I think that's the right move for both of them, just because they were just kind of directionless otherwise.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's fine. Here's the thing. The song's going to help Jungle Jack Perry.
Yeah.
Perry has struggled the last 2 years to kind of get over. His heel character was bad. So it's probably the right move. Whoever's called this is really low-key smart in my opinion. It's really, really was, because that song's going to kind of dilute whatever stigma of negativity that he has on him. And it's a legacy AEW tag team. It's smart.
Yeah.
All right. Adam Page defeats Kyle Fletcher via pinfall in a singles match for the AEW Championship. 38 minutes and 10 seconds. Why so long?
I mean, this is a showcase for Kyle Fletcher,
I heard the match was excellent. I'm just going off what people say.
Yeah, so, like, it doesn't surprise me. Kyle Fletcher's awesome. Adam Page is awesome. And it just... It's really refreshing having, like, this is like a matchup where it's like, oh, you got two guys that are pretty much homegrown AEW guys fighting for the top prize. I don't necessarily love the TNT champion lost, but at the same time, like, they did this last year at AEW All Out, where the world champion faced off against the TNT champion. So I would like it to be kind of like a reoccurring thing, if possible, just because I feel like it would give All Out kind of like an identity. And with Fletcher, I know, like, people were freaking out over Stevie Richards' comments on him, but it's like, I listened to the full thing. I'm like, oh, that's all he said? Wasn't that bad. I think people kind of like harnessed on the like, oh, he should go to NXT or something like that. But it's just like, I think they kind of ran
it with a mile with the comments.
Yeah, so with Kyle, it's like he's awesome. I think he's going to be a major player from years to come. He's only 26 too, so it's like, again, sky's the limit for him.
His head really was a great move in retrospect.
Yeah, it definitely separates him from the Osprey comparisons.
Yep.
And he can always grow.
Takes that boyish image off him as well.
Yeah, and plus, he really did transform his body as well. for the past year, and he's a completely different wrestler. And I think it might not as a detrimental, but it's like I think that might cause him to change his style because we've seen people like bulk up and then they have to change their styles. Like Osprey, I remember he had to do that when he moved from junior to
I don't
heavyweight.
think that I don't think that's negative. It probably helps him.
Yeah, and I know like Kenny Omega,
longevity-wise.
yeah, and Kenny like said in an interview saying like his fear is like all these guys are gonna beat their bodies down, and once it's time to give them like the world title, then it's like their bodies are already broken down, so their reigns are less than. So I really hope that's not what Kyle like has to go through. But again, he's still young; he could still do what he wants.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Richie, successful night. What would you prefer to watch? A 5-card match structure like that we got with the WWE, which is about 3 hours and 15 minutes, or all out 14 matches with the pre-show. And I don't know how long it went, but I believe Hangman went into the Brock match. So what would you prefer from a viewer standpoint? The 4, I'll just call it 10 because you don't have to watch the preview. So 10 or 5 or somewhere ideally in the middle.
I would like somewhere in the middle. Like I think the perfect like pay-per-view PLE card would probably be like
5,
a good
6 to 7,
like 6 to 7. You might even throw 8 in there if you
if
have
it's
like a short one.
WrestleMania, right?
Yeah, because it's like with 5, it's like you do get that time to kind of decompress.
Which I like. I don't mind.
I don't mind the 5-match card structure either. It's just like when they put like needless fluff in between it, like the Stephanie announcement, which again, good for her, but it's just kind of like, all right, what are we doing here?
Big surprise.
But with AEW, and it's like I've been in the crowd for those AEW pay-per-view shows.
They just go and go and go,
and it's just like you can't breathe, and it's just like sometimes you fatigue, and then it's like, unfortunately, what happens is like when you have like that good momentum and you have all these great matches, sometimes the crowd is just like dead when they should be alive. Like I was like there.
I always used to fall asleep. I stopped getting them because I used to always just fall asleep.
Yeah, because like I was in the crowd for like this is what happened like for Forbidden Door, like this, like there was a TNT championship match for like the 6-person ladder match. That was our break. We're like, it's like we have to go, like we have to like get a like a little breather out there.
Yeah, no doubt. But all right, Richie, I'm sure we'll have you on for a Crown Jewel preview. And I think I should release some more Raw and SmackDown soon. We got a few in the holster. So
all right, sounds good.
All right, Richie, on to the next one. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thank you for having me.